One of the hardest things for anyone living abroad is being away from friends, and what's often harder is making new ones. That was definitely true for me. My name is Annie Samples, and I've been living in Denmark since I moved to Copenhagen in 2019.
And my name is Derek Hartman. I moved here in 2017 and can totally relate to that. And you guys are listening to What Are You Doing in Denmark, the podcast that helps you make Denmark make sense.
Today, we're talking about the importance of friendship and making friends in a new country, all the way down to the molecular level.
Science proves that humans survive longer and live better lives with friends, and it's specifically important for women to have close female friendships. But if it's okay, I'll stick around for this conversation anyway.
Please do. And I'm also glad to be joined by Briana Lukegaard, who's not only my friend, but also my business partner, who's on a mission to help international women living in Denmark find friendship. Welcome, Briana.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my
I'm excited.
Gosh. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, super glad to have you guys both here, because obviously anybody who has been following Annie on social media knows of your recent ventures bringing women together. I really wanted to dig into kind of how important that is, because I kind of went down this rabbit hole learning about the science part.
Yeah. I'm glad you did, because like what you have found really backs everything that feels true up, you know? Yeah. So that's super cool.
It's nice to know that your feelings are validated by,
exactly.
by science. And it's like, oh, this is a chemical reaction.
Yeah. And just highlighting the importance and like the actual biological need for it is...
Yeah.
Well, it keeps us in business. I'm just kidding.
No, so true though.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice, like when you have something that you know, like, okay, I have this feeling. What is it? And then you have something that's like, okay, this is my body. These things are biological, and it's not just feelings. And I know it's kind of nice to like have some like rational validation for something you feel like is not in your control.
And it can keep you encouraged on like a path to something. So that's super cool. But tell us more about your findings.
Yeah. So women's friendships and close friendships contribute to better mental health and better physical health and even longer lives. So UCLA did a study where they looked at the importance of regular face-to-face interactions with friends. And this was gender blind. So this was for men and women. But there's some other kind of specifics for women that I'll talk about. But basically it showed that there's a chemical response when you engage with friends. It sort of helps you to have a release of serotonin and oxytocin. At first I read that as Oxycontin, and I was like, that sounds
not good.
That's not
good.
Well, depends on how you look at it, I guess.
No, you don't want those friends.
No, you don't want those.
But oxytocin and serotonin, they boost your mood. A big thing of it, though, is that it has to do with sort of that face-to-face friendship or that face-to-face meeting. Now, what they noticed is that for women, it caused a chemical reaction that they called a tend and befriend response.
Okay, what does that mean?
So maybe you've heard of like fight or flight.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of the reaction that they associate more to like really bad experiences, but also found that men experience that more often in this model, where women tended to be faced with this need or this like tend and befriend response when they had other relationships with women or when they had like that face-to-face encounter.
Women are amazing.
Yeah.
It adds up.
It adds up. It's really, the math is mathing.
Yes.
Girl math even.
I think the thing that really spoke to me was that for women who move abroad, like that geographical distance is there. So their close friends aren't near them. So these face-to-face interactions, even if you can replicate that with technology, I think we know, especially from going through, the pandemic period, it's not the same.
No, not at all. And I can definitely speak to that. And I'd say this all the time, but before I moved here, I was like, oh, I'll just never have friends again. I had so many great friends back home that I stayed in contact with, and that's great. But then when I finally started getting real life friends, I was like, oh,
I remember this.
Yeah, like I do need this. Yeah, it is really a need.
Yeah, so the tend and befriend response basically is like the social bond, and it's a stress response. They also did a multi-generational study at Harvard. So this was over 83 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So crazy, like multiple generations of men and women. And they found that in this study, there was a positive increase in the metric for your physical and mental health when you have close friendships. And every time you were around a friend who was happy, you had a 25% higher chance of being happy yourself or reporting a measure of happiness.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. So happiness spreads. Like it's contagious,
Yeah.
right?
That's
true.
Like, and that was really cool because that was true of both men and women. But in a similar way, they found that proximity was a big part of this. So for a friend who lives within 3 kilometers of you, if you have a happy friend within 3 kilometers of you,
my gosh.
then you have a 25% increase in the probability of you being happy. And the farther away the friend lives, or the more time that passes between visiting them, the less happy you will be.
But you know what?
Which makes sense.
It makes sense.
Sad,
but
it
we're
makes
lucky
sense.
here in Copenhagen because how big is it really here? It's about 3 kilometers in in proximity. No, I'm just kidding. 6, right? I don't know.
Maybe it's 6. I don't know.
So you're bound to find a friend.
Exactly.
You have to.
You're going to be happy. Okay.
You must be happy.
So that's really
Is that why
beautiful.
you moved closer to me?
It is. It
Okay.
is 100%. Yeah. I'm a lurking Briana. And now we live how far? Maybe like 200 meters from each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's super nice. It's super
It
lovely.
makes sense though.
It makes perfect sense. Our kids go to school together. Like, our husbands are friends. How it increases your physical health. I feel like we're so good, and we have other friends that are so good about encouraging us to like go on walks, eat right, go to Pilates and yoga classes together. Like that's part of our like social interaction, and it's almost like a biological response. It's just so supportive feeling. You know, it's really lovely.
Of course, it will affect your leisure time too. Like if you have close friends around you, you are more likely to get together. You are more likely to
100%.
go for a walk, take the dogs out, that kind of thing
Totally.
together.
It's so nice.
Also, I think one of the sort of like sad things that was in here, and something that of course I don't like to think about too much because I think it would be even harder living abroad to go through it, but somebody that maybe goes through an illness, like think cancer, like having a close group of friends around to help take you to treatments, be there to support you, not just help with your mental state, but to be able to help with sort of the quality of life part
Totally.
too.
Definitely.
Like, makes a lot of sense that over a lifetime, because that is part of what you would experience in a lifetime, that you would be benefiting from having those close friends around.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Oh, sad to think about for sure.
I thought it maybe would be fun for a game to pick up the mood. So
Surprise.
I prepared this, so it's in my phone because I didn't want to send you guys this in advance.
Oh.
But I thought it'd be cool to have you guys blind rank some groups of female friends and companions. So I grabbed 5.
Okay.
So
it's going to be 5 in total, and we rank them 1 through 5.
So like a MySpace top 5. So your number 1 is the best.
Exactly.
Yes.
Got it.
Exactly.
yes. Oh, good. We're dating ourselves.
Yeah,
Yes, but
we
I
are.
understand. Okay. So for anybody who's listening that's in Gen Z, MySpace was this thing that we had in the beginning of social
Simpler
media.
times.
The beginning of times.
Yeah.
Yes, the best of times. Gosh.
Yes. And the worst of times if you were number 6.
Oh, wait, or if you got bumped from somebody's
But
top
do you remember
5?
you could get the code where you could expand it and you could have like top 20,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
But we didn't start off that way.
No, we sure
no.
didn't.
It was
we had
vicious.
to evolve
It was
into
vicious,
that. Yeah.
but I'm an inclusive diva, so I got it up there as
Okay,
high as
so-
I could. Or I would go the diplomatic route and just put like my favorite artists, like my favorite musicians.
Oh.
Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Oh.
for me that was like Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
That's so cute.
That was my post-punk emo era.
100%. What year were you born again?
81. Yeah.
Slay. Love
Yes,
that. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Elder millennial.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll blind rank these. So the first pair of female friends, how about Tina Fey and Amy Poehler?
Oh gosh, they're so precious.
That's got to be close to number 1.
That's going to be close to number 1. I have a little bit of lore regarding that as well. My sister is an actress. Is it more like empowering to say she's an actor or an actress? She was in a movie with Amy Poehler, and then she was on an episode of 30 Rock. And sometimes she beats herself up for like not being the most successful actress in the world. I'm like, that's it. Like you're done.
You're done.
You've
You've done it.
You've done it. Exactly. Gosh, it's so hard to rank that without knowing what the other ones are.
No, I hate blind ranking anything because I'm
Maybe
like,
we should go
3,
3, 2,
2 or 3.
2 or 3. Let's try 2. Let's go with 2.
Okay, go with 2.
I feel like they're my friends. because of
Exactly.
my
And they're
sister.
fun. They're funny.
They're smart.
Let's give it a 2.
remember when they hosted the Golden Globes? That
That
was
was
some of the
so
best
iconic.
joke writing I've ever.
Women
so
really
good.
can be funny.
Yeah.
We are funny.
Believe it or not.
We can do it all.
We can do it all.
Okay, so number
love making
2.
a joke.
Okay, we'll give it a 2.
I like
I'm
that.
nervous though.
I know.
Who's to
I know.
come?
Okay, the Golden Girls, or what is it in Danish? Panther.
Oh,
I don't-
Panther Ant, or what?
Oh, I
think
don't
it's-
know it in
Yeah,
Danish.
Panther. How did? Yes. I
Oh,
don't,
wow.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, they had a different name here, but yeah, the Golden Girls.
okay. You're a Golden Girl diva, right?
Yeah, I like Golden Girls a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did
It
you
holds up.
watch?
I only when I stayed home from school on
Right.
sick days, so I didn't experience it as much.
Exactly.
So,
I love the Golden Girls as a concept, but I know the fandom runs deep and I can't claim that. Does that make sense?
I wouldn't say I'm a super fan, but yeah, I mostly,
I had a roommate that was a super fan, almost to an alarming degree. I support that though. But my issue is the fact that so I'm 38 and those women on that show were like 35.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Everybody relax.
Yeah.
How golden are we talking? So I personally, for the misrepresentation of women in their 30s and 40s, would say actually number 5. Not in a malicious way
no,
whatsoever.
I can agree with that
Okay,
though.
perfect.
I understand where you're coming from.
Thank you.
Let's
for
go
understanding
5.
me. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Perf.
The third option.
Okay.
Brigitte Newbort from Bonn
Oh,
and Kathleen Foonsmaak
who's that?
from Bonn.
Well, this isn't fair.
Okay. Oh, okay. So,
We're not TV girlies.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I thought maybe you.
No, I do
thought
have a
maybe-
Danish
We have no
husband,
time.
but
No time. No time. You don't have time to watch Danish.
do you want me to
programming?
rank my children?
Yeah, we could try that.
that sounds
yeah,
fun.
The
yeah,
7
yeah.
children.
So maybe that should be number 5, just because of complete lack of knowledge,
Yes.
and that's on us
Yes.
actually.
Well,
What would you say?
Brigitte was the prime minister, but then she developed a friendship with the news reporter.
Is that like
for-
conflict of interest vibes?
It didn't start out that way, and then it sort of evolved. I like their friendship in the show. There was a little bit of like female prime minister, like helping
cool.
her like move up in the news ranks.
Okay.
I want to. There was a
that's
nice little bit of their friendship. Yeah,
Yeah, that's very slight. So I'm actually going to go 4.
Let's give it a 4.
Yeah, because girl power. Do you watch with English subtitles or?
Yeah. Yeah, I watch it with English subtitles.
Okay.
I'd like to get to a point where I can just where like my Danish is good enough. My like hearing,
Gosh.
you know, yeah, we talk.
I feel
about
like on a show
Wouldn't
like
we
that, they
all?
would probably be speaking so fast. Also,
they do when they get excited.
Yeah.
When they and
or
there's
like
also like a lot of the political slang that I just wouldn't pick up on.
the slang is
helps
what
having-
always really
yeah.
gets me. Yeah. Okay, but I'm encouraged. Maybe I should
Yeah,
watch
it's
it.
a good one.
Okay,
It's a good one.
People
Yeah.
love it.
But I think that's fair. Yeah, number 4, not having the 5 open and knowing
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah. No, actually, with your recap, I feel very confident about the 4.
Yeah.
Okay, the next group of friends: Phoebe, Monica, and Rachel
Aw.
from Friends.
You're such a Friends girl,
That could
right?
be a
Or is that
1.
just Casper?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that 1 for you?
Could be.
That's beautiful. That was one of those shows so like I think what Golden Girls was for a lot of people, they would just like put it on. Like that was that for me. I would watch it like every night and like go to sleep. But I haven't watched it in so long. But I'll go number 1 because I support you.
Thank you. What a good friend.
I know, exactly.
Yeah, women
So
supporting women.
Exactly.
I'm so
supporting
happy
women.
to do that. Exactly. It's supporting women. How great is Phoebe? Do you think you're more of a Phoebe,
Oh my-
Monica,
who would
or
I am-
Rachel?
I think I would be like a mix of all 3.
Totally.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Could you choose one?
No, you
No,
can't.
no.
Not at all.
I don't think I have the control aspect to be Monica.
I think Monica's out for me.
Monica's out
well,
for you?
I don't know. No, I'm a mix
Yeah.
because
yeah,
I can
yeah.
be I can definitely be a little Phoebe.
Oh,
Phoebe
yeah.
is a vibe.
Yeah.
Her wardrobe. If you go back and look at it, iconic. Yeah. Okay. That's
They were
cool.
great. Okay, and the last one, which I guess by default would be
Yeah.
your number 3,
Okay,
let's
right in
hear
the
it.
middle.
was Serena Williams and Meghan Markle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mixed emotions. That's perfect though,
Yeah.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Respect, confusion.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they were friends, first
Yeah.
of all.
I did not.
I
Yeah.
always am hearing conflicting things about Meghan Markle. I'm like, do you want to be famous or not? I'm so confused.
Right.
But then, of course, I believe her. Serena Williams seems incredible.
Yeah. I think they're like big on like supporting each other. So
That's
even
okay.
though they're not like super in your face, like say like Taylor Swift is with her girlies, like
Yeah.
they're always at each other's events.
Oh.
They're always
Okay.
like
That's cool.
That's
kind of
nice.
like
You
That's
sort of have to like
sideline
pick up on it.
supporting.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're not like, oh, I'm gonna walk the red carpet at your event with you.
Yeah.
Because I don't like. They're more like, yes, I'm buying a table at your charity thing.
Yes.
and-
They're real friends.
Yeah, that's a good segue then, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously the two of you have not just found each other, but kind of inspired the business that you have together,
Yeah.
kind of with this mission of helping females living abroad, specifically here in Copenhagen, to find close friendships. So
Dragons,
can you tell us kind of how that started? And
Yeah.
doing?
So, I mean, you know, sort of like my backstory when it comes to content creation and everything. And of course, I created that to be a resource, hopefully, or just a source of entertainment for people who are interested in life in Denmark or interested in moving to Denmark or people who already lived in Denmark. And of course, along with that came a lot of questions and just a need for more connection. So at the time, I partnered with a friend of mine who helped me get some guides published, and then that sort of organically evolved into events, which became quite popular, and they just were so successful, and the people that come to our events are so incredible. It's just sort of like catapulted it into so much more. And then there came a time when the woman that I originally started the company with, she had to step down for health reasons, and I was talking to Briana just very casually like, oh, well, this happened, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do La Femme anymore. You know, it sucks, but I can't add another thing to my plate.
Yeah.
And she was like, hold up. Like, I have a degree in event management. And like, she has art. Like, then when I started thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, she already does this. Like, ever since I've known her, she's like organizing events and helping people connect and like helping people feel comfortable in Copenhagen and getting people the resources they need. So I'm like, absolutely no brainer. And since she came on, it's been just fabulous.
So you do have the Monica.
There's the Monica.
Yeah. In all the best ways. So it's great. She's very organized and like she just gets it done and it's really lovely.
Yeah. I was doing it on a smaller scale and I feel like I didn't have the platform, which is where we kind of mesh and both give something to it, because I started these WhatsApp groups and I was connecting women, but then it wasn't until I started with Annie, then we could reach a larger audience. And now it's just growing so big.
It's growing, and now we're really just trying to figure out how to scale it in a more sustainable way that can meet everybody's needs, you know?
The concept is, events for women thrown by women who are, obviously you guys are living abroad.
Right.
Are many of the people who are coming to your events, are a lot of the women that are coming locals? Are they Danes?
We
are
get
they
like we do get the occasional person that's like, I'm here on vacation.
Oh, cool.
And it just so happened you had an event while I was here, and they come in. That's such a huge honor for somebody to be like, let me spend some of my vacation time with you.
Yeah.
That's so precious. We had a woman recently, I think she might be moving here very soon, but she was like, oh, I just flew into town for an interview. And then every once in a while we have a Dane. We've
had a few.
Yeah. We have some Finnish gals, which we love. Like they're really from all over. It's really incredible.
So everybody does belong. I know I have a friend who she had mentioned that she was interested, but she was like, oh, is it just something for moms? Is it just something? And I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But,
we get that a lot.
I think
and
it's
I feel like that
50-50 split.
A common misconception.
Totally.
Though. They're like, oh, I don't have children. Can I still come? Or I'm not married. Can I still? And you can be married, single, children, doesn't matter. And also we have women of all ages.
We do.
We've had girls in their like late 20s, 40s.
Yeah, like Isabella. Shout out Isabella if you're listening.
We love Isabella. Yeah, she's 21.
She is 21.
Yes.
And then we've got women
Amazing.
up until their 60s, you know? So it's really so inclusive. And I've found it's so valuable to have women friends of all ages. It just gives you so much perspective, so much value. So it's really nice to hopefully be able to facilitate that for others as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I think it's important to not just be friends with people that are your age and from your country. Like when I moved here, my first friend was my neighbor Barbara, and she was 80. From Poland, and I'm still best friends with her 6 years later.
Oh, that's so
She's
cool.
incredible. She has the best stories, but it just goes to show you don't have to be from the same country or the same age.
That's so great. Like, because sometimes I'll have those nights where it's just myself and some American friends, and I'm like, wow, I forgot what it's like to just, you get all of my references. You watch these shows that like we had from our childhood. But then it's also easy to kind of put yourself in that bubble as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, while I think there's sometimes value in that.
Of course, exactly.
Especially in the early days, it is so nice having a range of people to inspire you.
And a question I get a lot is like, oh, don't you miss like the diversity of the U.S.? Whereas like in the U.S., there was diversity, but everybody was American, which is super cool, of course. But then now here I've got friends who are diverse nationalities, but also like I said, Finnish, Hungarian, Japanese. Like it's
like the UN at our events.
It is. It's so cool, and it's just like such a huge honor to be able to know these women.
Yeah. we've done some episodes before about the unique challenges for friendships in Denmark. In particular, because the approach to friendship is a bit different than in some other cultures, like in the US, for example, or Southern Europe, Latin America, South America, where it's a bit more open and you have maybe friendships develop a bit quicker. And that's not always the case here in Denmark, specifically in Copenhagen. Do you experience that with the women at your events, or any themes that you hear over and over?
Yeah.
I am going to give an unpopular opinion. This is where I'll be a little Phoebe, but like, I think part of it is energy. So if you have this like positive energy and you want friends, you will attract it. But if you're walking around thinking no one wants to be my friend, and you're looking down and you're also not making effort, and I can say that because when I first moved here, that's how I was. I thought people were going to knock at my door. And it took me moving back to the US and coming back again to realize, oh, I need to make an effort also. And once I did, I was like, wow, everyone's so open to being my friend.
And that, like, I feel that's what's so great about our events is that everybody is so positive and open that comes. And that's not to say you have to be this like big outgoing personality. It's just sort of like you're saying, like an energy. Like some people show up and they're just like quiet as mouses, but then you get to talking to them and you're just like, and they share their experience in their life with you, and it's so great. But then of course there's also other bigger personalities that also just add like a really nice fun and spice to it all. I'm saying this all the time as well. We live in such a global society now that I think that sort of narrative that different cultures make, of course that's always going to be somewhat true, but I think that barrier is like coming down a bit and people just are generally more open. So that's super nice.
I think that's interesting too. Like, you realize like global culture, you know, this idea of like all of us kind of having the same references from social media and from watching, you know, whether it's Friends, which we keep mentioning, you know, find somebody in Denmark who hasn't watched at least one episode. I mean, that's going to be pretty hard to do. So it's like we do have way more common references and commonalities than 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's really
it's really
cool.
lovely.
Whenever we have done, you know, kind of anything on the topic of making friends, and there is this narrative that it is harder in Denmark. And I do think if those are people's experiences, then there's some truth behind it.
Right. It's valid.
Yeah.
But I also agree with what you said, Briana. Like, nobody necessarily owes you anything. And when you move to any new city, you have to do the work. You have to put yourself out there, go to places to make those connections. It's not easy anywhere. I wasn't back home in Philadelphia walking around looking for people from abroad to say like, oh, you know,
are you from here? No, perfect.
I'll be your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
You sound different than me. Let's
Should we talk?
Yeah. That's so true. I never thought about it like that, but that is 1,000,000% true.
Like I think all of my friends were American. You know, before. So but it's also super easy, like, because you know, moving countries anywhere is not easy, and then moving to especially if you're like moving to Denmark in the winter and like you know it's really easy to like, and I've done it before, sit there and the weather sucks and nobody wants to be friends with me and I don't like the food, you know, like, and
you
then
just
summer comes
on.
and everybody disappears. You know, goes on holiday. So it's hard to like make those initial contacts.
100%.
Definitely.
I think the biggest piece of advice I have is to just be open and know that whoever is supposed to be in your circle is going to make their way there. And just have the confidence and self-assurance that it's all going to work out. Because it always does.
Put yourself out there a little bit. It's almost like dating in the beginning.
100%.
I went on so many friendship dates with my daughter, and I was like, does anyone have a 3-year-old? Does anyone want to meet up? And so many of them, I left thinking, okay, I'm probably not going to see them again. But I still didn't give up. I kept doing it. And I think it paid off.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I think so.
I remember one nice thing like that I found when I first moved here was like when I would put myself out there and go to something, I would sometimes have Danes in particular, I remember doing this, like sending me a message on like Facebook Messenger and just saying like, hey, it was nice talking, it was nice chatting, it was nice meeting you. That's not something that I felt like I ever did before. I don't know that would be super common in the US, but I found that multiple times, like enough that I wouldn't say it's a generalization that every Danish person does that, but more than I ever remember happening before.
That's interesting. I've never, I think that's just
like
kind
a follow-up thank you.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like organic women behavior though as well. So like, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lot of times you hang, especially if it's like a new friend, you're like, oh, so nice.
So nice grabbing a coffee.
Yeah,
like, let's do it again soon.
So, but that's really cute to hear that like the Danes are doing it via Facebook Messenger. They love the Facebook.
They love the Messenger. And I'm like, please just send me an
Just send me a
iMessage.
text.
I'm not
Oh
going
my
to see it.
I just want to delete Facebook so bad, but I don't
I
because
do.
of
Well, you
that.
can't. You'll lose all your friends.
Well, that's it.
You'll have no
And
friends.
photos. Yeah, what
Yeah.
would I do? I'd have to go back to MySpace.
Should we bring it back?
Tom, save us.
Should we bring it
Let's
back?
bring it back. I love him.
my
He's a
first
sweetie.
friend.
My first friend.
Yeah.
Was he on your top 5?
I
Top
think
6?
I kept him in for a little bit. Yeah. Just
He
as
deserves
a yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
king,
I hope he's
king of
well.
the internet. I do too. I think he's retired.
Good for him.
Well, I'm sure
yeah.
he's doing fine.
I think he's just fine.
He worked really hard for a short period of time.
Exactly. What
Very nice.
the dream.
Now that you guys have entered this space, what sort of things do you think could be done, policies, initiatives that could help not just women, but anybody that's moving here from abroad to make those connections and build a network?
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting to consider is the fact that a lot of people, a lot of women moving abroad are trailing spouses for employees of companies, bigger companies, Maersk, Novo Nordisk, things like that. And it costs them a great deal of money to get these people over here, get these families over here. And a lot of times the spouse, the children are not feeling particularly supported. I don't know if you guys saw, but the Greater Copenhagen region launched a campaign called Life Quality Insurance. And I think that's a really smart move, but it's like, okay, what are the active things that we're doing in order to create this quality life? Yes, we have the insurance of if we don't like it, we can move back and you'll cover the cost. But that's another major
Right.
expense for
Right.
them. And not to make it all about expense and numbers, because I truly feel like just knowing how my life was before and how my life is now, if it is the right fit for you, it's so worth it. There were some things that I initially thought, oh, this is not the right fit, when really it was just I wasn't supported and I was experiencing culture shock and I wasn't realizing it. You know what I'm saying? So I really strongly feel like a company or like something like the Greater Copenhagen region should fund us, bring us on as a tool that can more holistically help these families become settled, help these women feel more integrated. And we just have such a wealth of resources and knowledge now. And we're only 6 years in, and we have a network of women that have been here, 20, 30 years that we also have contact with. And I feel like we could provide so much. It's just, we are 2 women, we're trailing spouses ourselves, you know what I'm saying? So we don't have a ton of resources financially, but we would love an opportunity to have that.
As like a relocation package.
Exactly.
For not just the big things, but also anything small.
100%.
Like you move here and you're like, where do I buy my jeans?
I literally
What
was
does
thinking
Focus
last
do?
night,
What does Brenna
get a doula, get a family photographer,
Absolutely.
get a makeup artist, get your kids in dance classes, get your kids in soccer. Like we know how to do all these, grocery shopping, house cleaner. Like we have the connections for all of these things.
Yeah.
It's just so hard to find that when you first move here. And, moving countries is challenging enough. If we could provide all of the little menial things for people, for families, for women, it would just be so fulfilling. So I hope that's something that we can do.
I can totally relate to that. Yeah, it's so much easier to have a friend that you can message or text instead of going to like a random Facebook page
Definitely.
and
Right,
saying
right.
"Hey, I'm."
And the answers you get on
clueless.
there aren't always very nice.
And so, I was gonna say some people are so.
I
You
literally
ask
have
for
Facebook
apples
groups.
and people say like,
Go
why
pick
are
your
you
own
getting
apple.
apples? You should buy
God.
oranges. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah,
not what
yeah.
I'm asking. I'm asking where to get apples.
That's so true. I literally have gotten off of Facebook groups because they
Yeah.
make me so
People
mad.
are so cruel in there.
Actually, to that point, we have created a WhatsApp group for La Femme,
Great.
Yeah.
and
But
that is exactly what we do.
Yeah, we do that. But I have this huge fantasy of having this like big outpost where we have like our offices, we have like an event venue, we have a relocation counseling services, and then I even want to take it so far as we have
Room and board.
like residencies. We have a
Wow.
friend
Yes.
recently that moved here. She had to move by herself because her husband was still back in the country they were living in, wrapping everything up. So she had to move here with 2 little kids, like a 1-year-old,
2 and 4?
2-year-old and 4-year-old, by herself in the middle
And
of
find an
winter.
Airbnb,
Yeah.
get into that
Get
while
those
looking for
sorted.
an apartment.
Oh, and then make sure you can register your CPR
Exactly.
and all of that stuff.
Who do you call
Yes.
when you have an emergency? Because like kids that age, sometimes they spike like a
Yeah.
Or imagine she gets
fever.
sick.
If she gets
Right.
sick,
You know,
hello.
you're on your own.
The kids, they didn't even have a CPR card yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like to be able able to be like a
to provide
soft
an
landing
environment for women would be
Oh my gosh,
the dream.
The dream.
The dream
I remember
for
when we
us.
first moved, my oldest son, he was so picky, he wouldn't eat anything. And so I didn't know I didn't know anything. His blood sugar shot all over the place, and apparently a symptom of that is like projectile vomiting.
Oh, fun.
So I'm like, cool, 2 days in, you know? And so
Welcome
I'm like,
to
I
Denmark.
didn't know what to do. I didn't even know. I sent my husband to Matus because I was like, oh, surely that's like a Walgreens or something. So they didn't have any paper towels there. I was
No.
like, this country has no paper towels. I don't know what to do.
I'm sure for months you probably believed there was no paper towels.
A million
Like,
percent.
absolutely.
I thought the only grocery store to go to was a Lila Irma. And I'm in there with my double stroller, just like, okay, God, these groceries are expensive. You know, like,
and very small store.
so small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't want people to, and that, you know, obviously not a big deal, but if you can just take that off your plate, just imagine how much more families can thrive. And then these people who are moving here for their job can actually focus on their job and thrive in their job and make
Right.
Denmark a better place.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can help.
And you know, when it comes to the expenses, like sure, it's wonderful to be able to say, yep, if you can't hack it, we can send you back. But obviously,
Right.
the communa, the business community, like you're not spending the money to attract people here just to send them back 6 months
Exactly.
later. It's so much better if they're staying here, advancing their careers, building the economy, paying
Definitely.
taxes, becoming a part of society.
A
Right.
million percent.
And it's worth investing in at
Yes.
this level.
And I feel
Yeah.
like
you
this
know?
is a realistic solution
Yeah.
that's been untapped. And
Like,
And I
how
get
can
that-
we
Just wanna
make
do
them want to stay?
Yeah, and I
How
get
can-
that it's hard for Danes too,
Yeah.
because it's like
They don't know
haven't
what
had this
we
experience.
don't- exactly.
They don't know
Exactly.
what we don't know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I really hope to do
And
that.
they're doing their
of course,
best. I know
They're
it.
doing,
Yes.
yeah.
They really are.
Absolutely. And also sometimes it just, Denmark isn't the right place for somebody,
Yeah.
and that's fine.
True.
I have a very dear friend who lives here. She loves it. She's done like everything she can. Her family back home just needs her, and that's really valid too. So it's not,
Yeah.
I don't want to like dog on anybody and say like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
this is the only right place for everybody to
Yeah.
be. It's not that, but I do want to give anybody that wants to be here like the best fighting chance.
Exactly.
So,
That's so great. And thank you guys for not just joining us today, but for being able to give that space to women, because we know from the atoms in their bodies they need it, but also
Absolutely.
you know, the reality on the ground. We know that
A million
you know,
percent.
we all need each other here, and what you're doing is going a long way.
thanks.
So
You know what they
Thank
say,
you.
happy wife, happy life.
It is true.
Yeah, so if you guys want more information on La Femme, give us a follow on Instagram. It's lafemme.cph. We have a WhatsApp group that you can join. We do have a website coming.
Excellent.
We have events pretty much all the time. And if you're too scared to join an event, just get on the WhatsApp group and we'll convince you to come.
Exactly.
So things are moving fast, and it's so cool to see, and so cool to follow. You guys
Thank you.
definitely inspire me, and I think others as well.
Yeah,
So-
okay, so people are asking, are you going to start men's events?
You know what? It's funny. Yeah,
I'm like, who wants to be Les Masques?
it's funny. I was at because we are actually all friends, guys. Like
Yeah.
I was at Conrad Molden's
Yeah.
house, and his wife Anna.
Yeah,
was
she comes
at
to our
your
events.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She did our makeup too. She's
Yeah.
incredible.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was like, why don't you guys start?
Yeah.
Start
And then,
a
like,
guy's
if you
version.
biologically can't do it, you're like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure. Let me find let me find 5 minutes.
Yeah, rigor mortis sets in.
yeah, like,
I can't.
It's like,
Not today.
Yeah.
It's like you guys biologically can't do it. Bless you. No, you can.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can.
yeah. No, honestly, I mean, I do think. Okay, yeah, I know we were
You're
wrapping
good
up,
at it.
but I do think that it would be great, and maybe that is something that we can.
I do think we need like a representative that can like rally the troops. Because
Yeah.
if I'm just like, oh yeah, guys, go this way, I'm not going to go to a men's event. Sorry.
well, we
Sorry.
can't.
No, it's a men's event.
but like men,
I'll go
there,
and
I
join.
think there is a need for that for men as well, and I think men also really benefit
Yeah.
from having connections here too.
100%.
Absolutely.
Even if
And
it's just
would
like
be
a once
down
a
for-
quarter thing,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah.
I think men
Or shoot
need,
for like once a year. Like just try to plan one.
yeah.
Right.
A
And
men's
do it in the
retreat. How
summer.
fun would that be?
Spring.
Spring.
A
No,
men's
we're going in the
retreat.
spring. Okay,
And now
anyway.
we're thinking big.
Yeah,
So that's
all right.
that.
Well,
Well,
let's,
anyways.
let's talk offline, maybe. We'll-
Yeah.
I'll
Stay
help you
tuned
plan
for
it.
Les Masques. Okay, yeah, she'll help.
I'll do it all.
Thanks so much, you guys.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks for watching and listening. Hi, hi.
Hi.